What if I told you that one of the most brutally mocked, memed on, and notorious towns in all of Britain once had the Beatles playing to sold-out crowds? That this place, now shorthand for urban decay, was once the absolute peak of holiday glamour for thousands of people. This is Rhyl, North Wales, and its story is one of the wildest, most dramatic rollercoaster rides in modern British history. Here's how one of Britain's favourite seaside holiday towns became what the Telegraph in 2023 called Blackpool after a neutron bomb detonation. To understand the tragedy of modern-day Rhyl, you have to see the glory of its golden age. Let's turn back the clock to the 1800s. Britain is in the grip of the Industrial Revolution. Cities like Manchester and Liverpool are churning out smoke, steel, and a brand new working class. These families worked punishing hours in deafening factories and lived in cramped, terraced houses under a permanent grey sky. They were earning money, but they were desperate for an escape, for a breath of fresh, clean air. And that's where Rhyl hit the jackpot. It was perfectly placed. For a worker in Liverpool, the annual trip to Rhyl was their chance to see the horizon, to feel sand between their toes instead of cobblestones under their boots, and to wash the factory grime off in the cold Irish Sea. Riding this wave, Rhyl underwent a massive transformation as the Victorian era gave way to the 20th century. It rapidly built itself into the ultimate holiday machine. A grand pier stretched out into the sea, filled with the sounds of accordion players and puppet shows. A magnificent promenade became the town's catwalk for families parading in their Sunday best. Theatres and music halls competed for attention, each grander than the last. The Rhyl Pavilion was a palace of entertainment for performers from all over the country. The whole town was a living, breathing ecosystem engineered for one thing: tourism. Guesthouses lined the streets in the hundreds, each with a proud landlady ready with a full English breakfast. All this glamour peaked in the early 1960s when, at the height of their fame, the Beatles played the Ritz Ballroom. In its heyday, Rhyl was in a class of its own, a cultural institution and the beating heart of the Great British Summer. It felt invincible, but a storm was gathering, one that would wash it all away. The first cracks in the facade began to appear after the Second World War. Britain was changing. For one, car ownership was on the rise. Families were no longer chained to the railway lines. They could pack up their Ford Anglia or their Austin Mini and explore the entire coastline, creating new traditions in places like Cornwall or Devon. Then suddenly, for the same price as a week in rainy North Wales, you could board a plane and be sunbathing in Mallorca within just a few hours. The British public fell head over heels with flying abroad, and who could blame them? Slowly at first, then all at once, the tourists stopped coming to Rhyl. The trains that once arrived packed started pulling in with empty carriages. The guest houses that had been fully booked a year in advance suddenly had vacancies all summer long. Ryl's entire economic model was crumbling, and there was no plan B. The town was left completely exposed, showing itself to be fundamentally unequipped for a world that no longer wanted what it was selling. What followed was a slow, agonizing, multi-decade collapse. The very infrastructure that had been Ryl's greatest asset became its heaviest curse. All those grand Victorian hotels and charming little B&Bs became obsolete, their owners unable to pay the bills. They were sold off, one by one, for rock-bottom prices and carved up into small, low-rent flats. To walk down Ryl's HighStreet today is to witness a museum of this decline. The charming old department stores are gone, replaced by a sea of discount shops, pawnbrokers, betting shops, and fast food chains. A damning 2021 BBC report ranked Rhyl among the most deprived areas in all of England and Wales. Its crime rate is more than twice as bad as the average for the surrounding county, making it one of the most dangerous places to visit in the region. This grim reality has cemented Ryl's reputation as a failed town, or even the most depressing town in the UK. In early 2024, a journalist from Wales Online published a feature bluntly titled, "I visited the UK's worst seaside town." The article described a hollowed-out town centre, a windswept, joyless promenade, and a general atmosphere of neglect. But just when you think the story is over, that Rhyl is destined to be a forgotten relic of the past, there's a twist, because Rhyl is fighting back. Tens of millions of pounds have been pumped into it over the last decade in a desperate, ambitious attempt to turn the tide. The county council and the Welsh government have launched a series of huge regeneration projects, throwing everything they have at the problem, trying to fundamentally change what Rhyl is. The most visible symbol of this new ambition is SC2, a gleaming £15 million waterpark and adventure centre that opened on the waterfront in 2019. It's a modern facility with indoor and outdoor slides, splash zones for kids, and even a Ninja Warrior-style assault course. It represents a bet on a new kind of tourism, one based on modern, weatherproof attractions rather than just nostalgia. But herein lies the central paradox of Ryl's regeneration. The waterpark is fantastic, but step outside and walk a few minutes in the wrong direction, and you're immediately confronted with the old Rhyl. Derelict buildings, deprivation, and lingering social problems. So the biggest challenge is overcoming perception. If the national consensus is that Rhyl is a dangerous, pointless place to visit, then it doesn't matter how shiny the new waterpark is. People won't come. Many locals see these flashy tourist-facing projects and wonder if the money is being spent in the right place. Perhaps fixing some of its more fundamental socioeconomic problems first would be a better use of time and money. Zooming out, Ryl's story is not unique. It's the story of countless British seaside towns. Places like Blackpool, Morecambe, Great Yarmouth, and Skegness have all walked a similar path. They all enjoyed a spectacular boom, and they all suffered a devastating crash when the world changed. The entire model of the traditional British holiday town became obsolete, and most of them had no idea how to adapt. What we're seeing in Rhyl is the most extreme version of that national crisis. Some towns have found a way out. Margate, in Kent, reinvented itself as a cool bohemian arts hub centered around the Turner Contemporary Gallery. Whitby, in Yorkshire, leaned into its unique history, doubling down on its connections to Dracula. Others have become commuter towns or destinations for foodies. Rhyl hasn't found its new identity yet. It's caught in a painful limbo, trying to be a modern family resort, a nostalgic throwback, and a functioning town for its residents all at the same time. The problem is, it's struggling to fully succeed at any of them. Rhyl didn't fail overnight, and it won't be fixed overnight. Today, it stands at a critical crossroads. There's real money being spent. There are dedicated people, both in the council and in the community, fighting desperately to build a better future. But it is going to take so much more than a water park and a few new restaurants to truly bring Rhyl back from the dead. But what do you reckon? Have you ever visited Rhyl and seen the changes for yourself? Or do you have memories of it from its heyday? Is there another UK holiday town you think is even more grim? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your take. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, give us a like, hit subscribe, and tap the bell so you don't miss the next one. Cheers for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.